For those of you that just clicked on this video and don't know me, hi. My name is Hunter, and I'm a filmmaker. Ever since I was a kid, I wanted to be in the movie-making industry. As a young adult, I make short films and skits with friends of mine. I've worked in the Florida film scene for 4 years now on dozens of sets, and I've even been a production assistant on an indie feature film called I Win. I work on sets as often as I can, with anywhere from 1 to 2 hour days to up to 12 to 16 hour days. I am working towards this goal nearly all the time, and despite how hard I'm working, I wonder to myself if I'm ultimately wasting my time. The indie film scene is and has been dying. Disney and Warner Bros., some of the biggest places locally to work, have completely pulled out of Atlanta to go to London. Work is still in Georgia, but it has become incredibly slow, and it's not just that state. We've been feeling it in Florida too. I went from working on bigger budget indie films and commercial sets frequently to less and less, until maybe one would happen every 6 months. All over the internet and in work circles of mine, you hear how productions are becoming more and more scarce. It's a ripple effect that's even being felt in New York, Louisiana, and LA too. In a thread on r/filmmakers, it's noted that even the morale at the Toronto International Film Festival, or more commonly referred to as TIFF, one of the largest film festivals in the world, was incredibly low because of the direction the indie scene has been taking. I volunteer every year at the Tallahassee International Film Festival, and even though I love each time more than the last, the interest from the public seems to teeter more and more away from independent cinema. There are a few potential reasons for this. The first, of course, is the world is still feeling the effects of the COVID shutdown. Many places are still recovering, and the film scene is no exception. Another is that streaming isn't really amazing for independent film, as the algorithms on Netflix, for example, tend to drown out lower productions in favor of showing other pieces of media, like Stranger Things. In fact, they may just remove them from their platform as a whole, something that Netflix has done plenty of times. One of the most likely reasons is that tax incentives for filmmakers are kind of being removed in most states. What I mean by that is a city or state will make a deal with a production company to use their services when they're in that city, like restaurants and hotels. This helps the production company with taxes because they're given an absolutely amazing deal, and in turn boosts local businesses in that city. It's essentially a win-win scenario. However, this has been removed in Florida and recently in Georgia, which is why the bigger corporations more than likely pull out of there. And the biggest is AI. Not only are data centers ruining our power grids, soiling our water, and killing our environment, it is replacing people during the process of making a film. AI is affecting the film world, a human craft, and it's disheartening to see. There are, of course, productions that happen in plenty of states and places across the United States. But many crews tend to stay the same because people prefer to work with who they already know. Why hire a new guy to set up a light when you already like your current one? More and more, it feels like if you aren't an already established name, or if you're not part of a higher budget crew, you're not going to find work, and you might not ever make it into a circle in Hollywood. On the day I'm writing this video, February 1st of 2026, we wrapped an amazing short film at the University of Florida called Prelude to a Shakespearean Tragedy. I was the sound operator. Everyone in the crew is incredibly talented and lovely, and the production was a genuinely amazing time. We made something that I think is great. The film itself has so much heart put into it and the performances, but it pains me to say that one of us, or even all of us, could potentially never find success in the film world just because of how high the odds are stacked against us. What's worse is even to just have people see the film we made on a wide scale, we'll have to submit to dozens of film festivals, and it will cost nearly $1,000 just to do it. Just to have people watch what we made. To finally bring us on the topic of this video, I have been watching Markiplier on YouTube since his video on Slender Hospice back in 2012.
Hello everybody, my name is Markiplier and welcome to Let's Play Slender Hospice.
I've been an avid watcher of his content for over 13 years now, which is insane to say out loud. Some of my favorite Markiplier eras were Tiny Box Tim.
Oh, it's so tiny! Oh, I'm gonna call you Tiny Box Tim. You're gonna come with me on an adventure, Tiny Box Tim.
And the Amnesia Custom Stories, the Markiplier Make series.
Why are you still over there?
Why are you over minding your business, bitch?
His playthrough of Until Dawn.
Break me off a piece of that, Kit Kat bar.
And of course, his Five Nights at Freddy's playthrough. He is the reason I love that stupid franchise. I was even there for Unis Honest. Memento Mori. The point is that Markiplier has been one of my biggest inspirations, both for who I am as a person and my goals. He inspired me to make my first channel back in 2013, and to try to be a YouTuber in the first place.
Hey guys, what's up? This is Pikachu, and I'm bringing you guys a new one.
Hey guys, what's up? This is me, Pikachu, and I'm here with Laser Shark, and what's up, everybody? My name is Blaze Walker, and welcome.
Hello everyone. Thank you so much for stopping by. Hunteru here again with Outlast.
Naturally, because of my film background, when he announced he was making a movie, I started to closely follow updates and the process of Iron Lung's potential release. I remember when he announced he'd finished the movie, and everyone was so excited to see it, but Mark expressed he didn't want it to be another YouTube original. He wanted it to be a theatrical release. Many people got excited for this. I mean, a Markiplier-made adaptation for a great game on the big screen? Sign me up. Heist, Date, Space, and Who Killed Markiplier were all amazing, and even little smaller productions of his like Mother Loving Wharf Stash were great. Over time though, a theatrical release seemed like it was impossible. Mark's movie was an independent film, completely made without a studio attached. No theater was going to want that. For those that aren't aware, typically theaters pick up movies to play from well-known distributors. These are names you'll probably recognize like A24, Neon, Lionsgate, Warner Bros., Disney, so on and so forth. There was no studio backing this movie at all, so the incentive to take the film wasn't there, especially when the only draw to Iron Lung was it being made by a YouTuber. Outside of Raka Raka, who made Bring Her Back and Talk to Me, YouTubers don't have a good reputation for movie making. Take Logan Paul's movie as an example. Many people figured he could just work with theater chains directly to release the film, but this also seemed like something that wasn't possible. Like I said, theaters normally take films from larger studios because otherwise they don't know if that film will do well. There is no brand or conglomerate to advertise the movie's release. The only times I can think of off the top of my head where a theater took a film directly from someone to play was Taylor Swift's Eras Tour. But Taylor Swift is a household name since she's one of the biggest musicians in all of history. It was always going to do well. In Iron Lung's case, there are a ton of people who didn't even know who Markiplier is. In fact, a ton of people never even heard of the game Iron Lung to begin with. This isn't to say independent films can't do well, but even The Passion of Christ, the most successful independent film of all time, still had a distributor to put it in theaters. It also had a recognizable cast, on top of being directed by Mel Gibson, who made acclaimed movies like Braveheart. Plus, it was about Christianity, the largest religion in the world. This movie was going to do well. No one in Hollywood or the theater chains knew if Iron Lung would do well. The feature film I mentioned I worked on at the beginning of this video tried very, very hard to get a theatrical release. However, despite their efforts, they could only get it into a few streaming services, and the film is almost completely gone unwatched by the larger public. Every single odd imaginable seemed stacked against Iron Lung and Markiplier to ever get this put in theaters. The only way it seemed like this dream of his could ever happen was if it went through the festival route, as that's a super reliable way that films will get distributed in theaters. Like the aforementioned Talk to Me, that was an indie film and debuted at the Adelaide Film Festival, where it was promptly purchased and distributed by A24. There are many times where a short film will get picked up and funded into a feature after being shown at a film festival, like Whiplash. Although, again, this means Markiplier would have to pay hundreds of dollars to get his film shown at one of these festivals. Instead, Mark stayed strong on his wish to stick with the movie premiering first and foremost in theaters. And for a long time, this seemed like an incredibly crazy decision. The last big attempt in the public eye was when the Edge of Sleep series came out on Amazon Prime, and Mark was told if they got eyes on the production, then it could attract interest in his Iron Lung project. However, even though the show did do well, nothing came from this. There are a bunch of potential reasons why this could be the case. Reviews for it were muddled, and while it did do well initially, it quickly fell out of the public eye and consciousness, and is almost never talked about nowadays. Of course, also, at the end of the day, Hollywood still viewed Markiplier as just a YouTuber, not a creative mind. While this fight for Iron Lung seemed to be playing out, Chris Stuckman, another YouTuber, had his movie Shelby Oaks picked up by Neon when it premiered at the Fantasia Film Festival. It happened with the Philip Post Talk to Me, and now Shelby Oaks. Iron Lung could absolutely be picked up quickly by a studio if it played at a film festival. Many people, myself included, took to socials to try and urge Mark to go down the same route with a festival. We wanted to get this film on the big screen, and this seemed like the only feasible option. However, he stayed firm with his dream. Again, for a long time, this seemed to put the project into limbo. No one heard about it, Mark didn't talk about it, and the status of its release didn't seem to inch forward at all. people began to wonder if Iron Lung would ever even be released. All of these concerns and worries were blown away when on December 5th, Iron Lung was not only given a trailer, but an official release date. This surprised everyone. How did he do it? Theaters were still not interested in the movie, and he didn't take it through festivals. How was Mark getting his movie on the screen? Turns out, it was because Mark took a route no one even considered, showcasing the film in local home run theaters. It would play for 3 days, January 30th, 31st, and February 1st. This in itself was already an amazing call because yes, Markiplier's film is an indie production, but he is still a huge name. By putting it in smaller theaters, he can help them get a ton of business that they normally wouldn't be able to get. It perfectly lines up with his charitable heart, as it could help the always struggling homegrown theater scene. When the release date dropped, Mark also mentioned that he was interested in getting the film played at as many places as possible. If somebody wanted it at their local theater, he asked for people to just reach out to them and see if they'd be interested in playing Iron Lung. So people did reach out to local theaters, including theater chains, spamming and making their request heard. They wanted to see this movie. It's because of this that in the span of 5 days, the most unprecedented series of events in cinema history occurred. A day passed, and more theaters were playing Iron Lung. Another day passed. Even more theaters were playing Iron Lung. Pretty quickly, the film was slated to play on 2,500 screens across the world. This was insane, to say the least. It felt like no independent film had been put on a scale like this before. Then, it happened. AMC picked up Iron Lung. The pleas from the public had been heard, and a theater chain picked up an independently made and distributed film. Shortly after, both Regal and Cinemark also picked up Iron Lung. The 3-day planned showing turned into a 13-day theatrical run, depending on where you are in the world. Nothing like this had ever been seen or heard of before, to my knowledge. An unknown director was getting a large theatrical release in nearly every area in America, and it began to crawl to other countries too. Iron Lung started to make headlines left and right. People in my film work circles began to talk about it, even though a lot of them didn't even know who Markiplier was. I thought for sure that the only way this was ever going to make it to theaters was the festival route, but Mark proved me and the world wrong, and I'm so happy he did. When this announcement about how widespread it was becoming came out, I took to Instagram stating that Iron Lung has the potential to completely change the filmmaking world forever, and so far, it looks like it could do exactly that. On an incredibly small budget, with a super small crew, with no major studio attached, and a director that was almost entirely unknown to the world, the film has made almost $20 million as of writing this video, and has managed to go toe-to-toe with Send Help, a film distributed by Disney, advertised everywhere, and made by acclaimed director Sam Raimi. It even managed to kick down Avatar: Fire and Ash and Zootopia 2 on the daily domestic charts. I watched the movie for myself also on February 1st after working on set, and after finishing the movie, I tuned in for Markiplier's actual emergency meeting stream. In it, he of course expressed his thanks to all of us for supporting him, something he has always done in his career, but the thing that stood out to me the most as a filmmaker is his conversation he had with a film student. They talked about what Mark had done being incredibly inspiring, and Mark, if you ever see this video, it was. I have been working in the independent film scene for a few years now. I've worked with so many amazing, talented people. There have been so many phenomenal projects I've seen come together, and I thought for the longest time that they could never even so much as make a ripple in the film world, that I was wasting my time by trying to chase my dream. Iron Lung has shook my world, and the entire film world. It doesn't matter what the reviews are or the consensus of the story, but it matters how it's performed to the independent filmmakers and crew that are watching all of this unfold. You have put hope in all of the independent film scene's hearts. Now it's possible we might not have to pay hundreds of dollars to just have a passion project viewed by an audience. People might be interested in them. There does look like there could be a chance for independent films to not hope and pray that they get picked up by a larger distributor to even make it to theaters, and instead they could just work with directors directly. Hell, even distributors might give indie filmmakers more of a chance because of how Iron Lung has performed. In a landscape where the light was teetering out for independent film, we've been shown that there is still hope for independent cinema. And it's thanks to Markiplier. He had an unwavering vision to get Iron Lung into theaters, and after 3 years, he fucking did it. He made his goal that seemed impossible to everyone, even me, someone who claimed to be a big fan of his, come true. It's a proud triumph for independent filmmaking. Growing up, he inspired me as a YouTuber and a person to be who I am today. And now, as an adult, he's once again inspiring me as a filmmaker. For a few years now, I thought I was dumb for chasing my dream of being a filmmaker, that I was wasting my time, and that my efforts could be better spent elsewhere. And now, for the first time, honestly ever, I'm starting to think that maybe there is some hope in what I'm doing. Thank you, Mark, for filling so many people with hope and continuing to inspire generations. And I'm so excited to see what you'll do from here on out. Thank you.